Hello everyone and welcome to VRN, your one-stop source for all things VRC. We are here for the 10th race of the Virtual Racing Championships inaugural season. We are live from Auto Club Speedway for the Auto Club 100. Today these drivers will take on 50 wild laps around Auto Club Speedway. I'm Eddie Kalecki, joined by Trip McGinnis and Joseph McIntyre here for an exciting race. Joseph, what are you thinking? Only 3 more races till the playoffs.
And it's a 2-mile track. There are a lot of guys that are really, they specialize in 2-mile racetracks like JoJo Sims, and you got Austin Switzer as well. Very good racers in this race today that have a shot at getting themselves a win.
Well, for someone who's good everywhere, it's Tyler McDonald, and he'll be starting up front. Once again, another pole for Tyler Tripp. Tyler McDonald's just been so good this year. Yeah, and it doesn't matter the kind of track, he's just good everywhere. He's won Daytona, he's won Las Vegas, he's run well at Martinsville, he ran well at Road NC last race, so he's just doing so well. And also you got to talk about Paul Jackson, Joseph. He's going for his 4th win in a row.
And it's going to be one of those very interesting races. As you can see, half a lap remaining until the green flag flies here. And as you can see, once again, you got a couple Fords starting there, as you see on the second row. But it looks like everyone's having a little bit of trouble getting onto the grid here. But remember, like you said, it is a 50-lap race. We'll have that halfway bonus right at that lap 26 margin. And it's going to be interesting to see how these guys can take the racing surface here today. Not very much banking for as much speed as there is here at the Auto Club Speedway.
We also only have 9 drivers taking the green flag because Jacob York and Josh Crash failed inspection and can't race. Noah Eli is on pit road with an engine issue, so we're only going to have 9 instead of 12 on the entry list. So it looks like we'll be going green. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. 50 laps around Auto Club Speedway. Tyler McDonald is going to lead them down.
And already a lot of 3-wide action there. They're going to try to settle it down back to side by side, but here comes Switzer to the middle. Contact made with the 78. He goes way onto the apron and up into the outside wall. And I believe that will bring out a caution right away. Will it? Oh,
yeah,
man.
That's 4 cars. That's going to be a caution.
Yeah, that'll be a caution whenever they throw that. And there it is, right there.
Now, caution is deployed.
Well,
involved in that wreck, Josh Williamson was there, Caleb Rose, Paul Jackson,
I saw
and one other car. I did not see who the 4th one was.
And I believe it was Hoffman.
I'm not 100% sure. That might have been Ethan Hoffman.
Yep. So definitely a very interesting way to start off this one here at the Auto Club Speedway. They're going to try and get it restarted here. If not, there will be an extra lap for extra half lap or lap for the pacing here today. And it'll be Caleb McDonald starting in that 2nd position right behind his brother. And it looks like we will be taking the green flag next time by or on the back straightaway.
It's just amazing. We've got so many talented drivers, and it seems like every single race, the first turn is chaos. Once again there, Austin Switzer had a good run, but they got aggressive. They were 3 wide. He got loose, got into Paul Jackson. Paul Jackson almost made a heck of a save on the apron, and then chaos came after that.
And I believe that there's something with these guys where it's just restarts and starting that they once they are out of their groove, they have to find a way to get back into it. And the most dangerous part of it will be the restarts. So it'll be very interesting.
So the drivers in the top 5, it's Tyler McDonald, Caleb McDonald, JoJo Sims in 3rd. 4th place is Fisher G. And rounding out the top 5 is Austin Switzer. Josh Williamson kind of overshot everybody there, but he'll back up to the back. I believe he's restarting 6th. As it looks like they'll be going green at the start-finish line.
And once again, remember, we do single file restarts here for the VRC. And
never mind, they're going green, it looks like, up here.
All right, heading down into
McDonald
3.
getting aggressive. Tyler McDonald's temperature light came on. I don't know what that's about. But his brother Caleb, Happy Meal to the outside, and it looks like he might be able to clear the 11. He does. Caleb McDonald to the lead as they head to the start-finish line.
And here they come. That 21, I believe that's one of his first ever laps led after he's powered around the leader. in the Virtual Racing Championship Season 1, and right now he's out to a pretty good lead. It looks like the 88 Fisher was trying to get around McDonald for the second position, but he hit the wall heading down through turns 1 and 2, and that looks like Tyler's heading and chasing down his brother down the backstretch, getting ever so closer in that front windshield. And it looks like that 21 a little bit better on entry, but worse on exits. Here comes the 11, looking to the outside of his brother. Here they come side by side down the front straightaway.
Dead even to the line, Caleb McDonald leads that lap. And something important to note, remember, the playoffs are coming soon, only 3 more races. Caleb McDonald, one of those guys battling for the 6th spot, because the 3 winners, McDonald, Jackson, and Crash, have punched their tickets. Switzer and Sims haven't won, but they are all but locked in. They're both 30 points above the cutoff. Joseph, it's going to be a dogfight for those last spots. And Caleb McDonald, if he can win, that he could solidify that 6th spot.
And what he's trying to do is solidify, like you said, a spot for him. He might not get the win. He might get the win. We don't know. But the main problem for some of these guys will be points, because it's going to be 2 wins that locks you in, like you said, and there's only a few races left in this regular season. And if he can get as many points as he can, just in case he doesn't get a win, it's going to help him out very much here in the late stages of the season.
Paul Jackson is up to 3rd. Then it's Caleb Rose. Top right of your screen, there's Austin Switzer chasing Caleb Rose. Rose, another of the guys that's battling for that 6th spot. Tyler McDonald has officially cleared Caleb McDonald.
Switzer and Rose now battling for 4th.
With a big run on the outside. Keep it off the wall. I think he will.
That's a 78 to Paul Jackson.
That guy's been getting loose a lot. Both of the McGinnis cars, all 3 actually. Yeah, I mean, the setup they are running, of course, I know the inside story, but they're all running a very loose setup, and that car tends to step out or sometimes get tight. And when it bounces off the wall, that's when the car gets out of shape, just like what happened there to Switzer.
And some of these guys are finding their own custom grooves to run, depending on which way they drive and depending on what setups they have. But as you can see, Caleb Rose takes to the inside of Switzer into the wall, goes the 99, makes more contact.
He just shoved the 20 back onto the grass. What in the world?
What a very interesting
Caleb
turn of
Rose
events.
is going to lose a lot of time. He'll lose 5th place to JoJo Sims.
So still running out front. McDonald has still not really pulled away from his brother all too much here. Only just a few tenths back to that 21 machine. And
I find Caleb McDonald one of the most underrated drivers. I mean, he's got victories in the Xfinity Series. He's won 2 halfway bonuses and a pole in the Cup Series. He's consistent when he races. I mean, to me, he's the favorite for that 6th spot right now. It's going to be tough between him and Hoffman and Rose, though.
And he's run not as many races, I don't think, as some of these other drivers. And he's running up there in that 2nd position, challenging one of the couple guys that's been so dominant this season. And he's running right in there. 1 and 3 are the 2 most dominant on the season. Josh Crash, of course, not racing today. It's McDonald and the 78 of Paul Jackson there that are running there. Then another one of the consistent drivers. Got a lot of top 2 finishes. Most 2nd place finishes, all 2nd place finishes, I should say, for that 4th position driver.
Oh!
And now moves to 3rd.
Between Jackson and Switzer, they're both around. Spinning this JoJo Sims, that should probably bring out a caution. We'll see what happens, though.
And I'd assume it would, as there are a lot of cars wrecked on the front straightaway here. And,
some news, Josh Williamson was having issues. He has pulled his car to the garage. So, bunch of cars out of the race. York and Crash, neither of them made it through inspection in time to race. Noah Eli blew his engine right after qualifying and couldn't race. And now Josh Williamson out. So we were down to just 8 cars on the track here early at Auto Club.
Still green, it seems, here at the Auto Club Speedway. So far, it's besides that first crash on the first lap, it's been a pretty clean race, I would say. Caution-free, except for the couple incidents we have had, though. A couple cars, though, right there in the apron.
Watch Austin Switzer, though. He's sliding around like crazy. As you see right again, now he's through the grass. These Fords are out of control. The Toyotas seem to just be able to keep it straight. All three, McDonald, Jackson, and Rose, seem to have much more stability than the Fords. And that's something interesting that we're going to have to watch for the rest of this race and see if the Fords make any adjustments.
And I believe race control was debating if there was going to be a caution out, because there definitely is now. As you can see, the two leaders have slowed up there on the front straightaway. And
Yep, caution is out, and we're about 12 laps in, so you can expect these drivers to come down pit road soon, Trip. Yeah, fuel window, I mean, you can stretch it as much as 15 laps, but really you're going to see 10 to 14. Problem here is with all the grooves, the tires wear out so fast. So I'd expect them to come making more pit stops than necessary, because you actually need the tires here. And I would be shocked if I see any two-tire or fuel-only gambles in this race.
And it's going to be customary depending on which line you prefer to run. Do you prefer to run the outside, the middle, or the inside? It's going to depend on where you run, where you want to, how many tires you want to get. Because, of course, when you run the inside lane, you're going to burn up more of those right side tires. And those left side tires will be trying to grip the inside. But once they slide, then it's all over with. Your tires are going to go down, down, down. If you run that outside lane, less wear for your tires. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what drivers choose what amount of tires here when they come down pit lane for the first time today's race.
Yeah, I've been watching. Three of the best. McDonald, Switzer, and Jackson. Tyler McDonald's been starting high and sliding low, and it looks like he's going to take 4 tires and gas. Not all the gas, because he doesn't need it. Austin Switzer's been doing this thing where he just runs the outside and lets his car just do a complete dirt slide to the bottom. Tyler's is a little more controlled. And then you got Paul Jackson, who just sticks to the bottom through the corners. So we're just seeing a big variation of lines, and that's what I love about this track.
And I have a strange feeling that restarts and long green flag runs, you're going to see a lot of different contenders here. Who's going to be better on the long runs? Who's going to be better on the short runs? It's going to be interesting to find out as this race progresses.
Well, let's see the race off pit road. Tyler McDonald's going to get it. But you said about the long runs, and, I mean, he hasn't been able to pull away from his brother. Caleb McDonald's been tough, and both Paul Jackson and Austin Switzer have been gaining. So it's interesting. It's an interesting decision here, and it'll be interesting to see if we get that long run, who become the strong suits, and if Tyler McDonald can keep control of this race.
And once again, as you said a little bit earlier on, we had a couple guys not make it through inspection, a couple of engine problems, and a couple out of the race early. So definitely the list of drivers that can contend for this win keeps on dwindling, and more drivers have a higher chance of winning. But with that 11 out front and how fast he's been so far in today's race, it's going to be a very tough challenge for some of these drivers looking for their first win on the season.
An interesting fact, 9 drivers ended up taking the green flag, with York Crash and Eli not being able to make it to the green flag. The 9 drivers actually ties the smallest field for a regular race, discounting the heat race races and the all-star race, ties Phoenix for the smallest field, even though we've had big fields. So just the way it worked out today, and a lot of bad luck for some drivers, and now we're sitting at just only 8 drivers here. So we'll probably be coming to the restart. We'll see if they officially restarted here. It'll be 12 laps till the halfway bonus, which obviously is a point and a playoff point for the winner, and that could be useful for any of these 8 drivers.
And a lot of work's gonna have to go into these next couple races for the drivers right there on the cutting line to get into the playoffs. And this restart could mean a lot, because it could lead us to the halfway bonus. And
green flag back in the air. Tyler McDonald, then it's JoJo Sims, Fisher G, Caleb McDonald, and Ethan Hoffman battle for fourth. Yeah, a lot of names up there aside from Tyler that you don't usually expect. Fisher G running up in third, the only Chevy currently racing. Very impressive from him. Paul Jackson, Austin Switzer buried outside the top 5, trying to make their way up. Paul Jackson is already up to 4th. Yeah, he's going strong for his 4th win in a row. Meanwhile, though, Tyler McDonald trying to check out on 2nd place Fisher G. His brother Caleb runs back in 4th place. JoJo Sims has fallen back to 5th.
And JoJo's fallen back quite a few spots. I believe he started out in that second position on the restart, and in one lap, that was not a very good lap, I don't think, for that JoJo Sims machine. But here comes Paul Jackson to the inside of the racetrack. He's wanting the lead from McDonald. Remember that short run, long run speed differential here. Paul Jackson the lead. Here comes brother Caleb McDonald to the inside. He makes contact with his brother, slides him up the racetrack. Now they're going to battle it out. Looks like McDonald's going to go clear for that second position. Now he's chasing back down after his Toyota Virtual Alliance teammate, Paul Jackson, to turn 3.
And Fisher G's right there as well. This is very interesting racing. I want to analyze what lines these guys take. Everybody followed Paul Jackson on the inside right there. Let's see if things change in 1 and 2.
And it looks like he likes to hold his line right down towards the inside lane no matter where he is on the front straightaway. Very low entry for Paul Jackson. And he's got to use the brake a lot more, and that allows the 11 to get a good run through the corner. And Paul Jackson's going to have to get back on the gas if he wants to try and catch back up to the bumper of that 11 car.
This really shows the talent of Tyler McDonald. All these drivers who try to do the high-to-low crossover each corner, and they are just wicked loose like Austin Switzer and Ethan Hoffman. Tyler McDonald, it doesn't even faze him when he does that through turns 1 and 2. The car doesn't step out on him one bit, and now he's able to start to pull away from Paul Jackson. It's now almost a 1-second advantage here as he crosses the stripe.
And Trip, I've done a couple of the interviews with that 11 machine, and he's told me it's all about wheel control. He's told me it's all about how he works that steering wheel. It's definitely hard for him. If we watched from the in-car cameras, you could easily see how he runs that wheel, always moving back and forth and trying to keep that car straight, and where that wheel spin is right behind him and underneath him, and keeping that car under control, he's told me, is the biggest key to running these races.
Yeah, Tyler McDonald also, he takes this so seriously. He focuses on everything, all the way to the weight of the car with fuel. Tyler McDonald is a focused driver, and he weighs a lot of variables when he comes to race, and clearly it's paying off. Already 3 wins, leads the series in wins and top 5s, 3rd in top 2 finishes. He is definitely one of the best drivers in the series, and right now, I gotta say, he's a championship favorite, and he's really showing it, putting on a clinic right now at Auto Club.
And you can see a little bit of bobbling there through the corners, with the car running back and forth here with the hood cam on the 11 machine. That is the track bar on these race cars. Some of these guys run higher and lower track bars, and that definitely does take an impact when you try to get that inside lane, outside lane run. These guys, when they turn, they've got to make sure they have their cars under control, or else that car is going to start wheel hopping up the racetrack, and they're not going to be able to control it, and they go right into that outside wall. But as you can see, the 99 trying to pull that little crossover move, entering a little bit higher, and then coming a little bit lower down towards the middle line, and then comes up the racetrack, and it looked like, it looked like Paul Jackson there that started to fall back there. And he's back in the 8th, it seems.
I have no idea what happened to Paul, but he's now falling back to 8th place. So your current field rundown, Tyler McDonald, Ethan Hoffman, Caleb McDonald, Fisher G, then it's JoJo Simpson 5th, Caleb Rose 6th, Austin Switzer 7th, and Paul Jackson in an incident. It was just a single car incident in 8th. Josh Williamson out of the race in 9th place here.
And one driver I do want to give a couple kudos to is that number 6 running Naomi Ashley. Definitely been doing pretty good in the VRC world recently, and definitely making a name for herself here. And as you can see, looking at that top right screen there, Switzer was running the Larson line for a moment there, as he comes back up on his nemesis this race, that 20 car of Caleb Rose.
Evasive action there. So now Switzer is catching Fisher G, and then, as you said, Naomi Ashley, who is subbing for JoJo Sims this weekend. They are Haas teammates, so she is collecting the points for JoJo Sims in this race. She debuted, unfortunately, a last-place finish at Road NC, but has raced well in the APWS and endurance challenges, and slowly Naomi Ashley, the first female driver in the series, is surely making a name for herself and has a spot with this team as Tyler McDonald goes surfing through the grass.
That was very eventful for that 11 machine. Got it right back going, though. Lost a couple tenths, though, to his brother, Caleb, and he still hit the wall coming off of turn number 2. But looking at second and third place battling positions, you can see it's Caleb McDonald and Ethan Hoffman. They're going to be battling it out for the next couple laps there. If you look at the intervals, time intervals on the top left of McDonald's screen, and that's going to be very interesting because they are right there running against each other for that 6th playoff spot. And they are definitely two of the best candidates at the moment.
Well, and you mentioned it. They're not just battling for these couple laps. They're going to be battling here at Watkins Glen and Atlanta. Those two have had so much animosity between each other. And even though they're both Fords, dating all the way back to Daytona, then Martinsville, and then all the way to Road NC, battling for that last spot in the LCQ. Caleb McDonald and Ethan Hoffman were bumping and banging for that last spot. Boy, was it exciting. Caleb McDonald nudged him out. Ethan was not happy. And two of them, let's see if there's any drama here. They're battling hard here as we come to 2 laps to go before halfway.
One thing I do have to applaud Ethan Hoffman for is driving so many cars this season. He started out in the 4 and then changed a couple more cars, and now he's running the 28 machine. Jared Talmadge drove in the first few races of the season, and now he's still running for McGinnis Motorsports, but in the number 28 machine. And if you look, Austin Switzer, he looks like he needs some new tires, sliding up the racetrack and hitting the wall, coming around through these corners, and definitely not seeming to have a very fun time with that 99 machine.
Well, he's been running the fastest laps, honestly, and Switzer's been gaining on these leaders, but he's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time, wrecked a couple times. He's having some issues now, but Tyler McDonald, meanwhile, is looking really strong. Yep, Tyler McDonald, good gap over Caleb. Then it's Ethan Hoffman, Naomi for JoJo Sims, and then 5th place is Fisher G as they come down the back straightaway, entering turns 3 and 4, coming to the halfway bonus. Tyler McDonald has claimed quite a lot of these this season. He got one at Daytona, he got one at Charlotte, almost got one at Martinsville, and now he's going to claim one at Auto Club. Tyler McDonald is going to take the halfway bonus here at Auto Club as he takes it across the stripe.
Slowing it on down to turn number 1. And if we get a look here, see who came in that second position, would have been Hoffman, or would it have been Caleb McDonald? But as you can see, the fuel light on now for the 99 of Austin Switzer, coming around to complete and come to the halfway bonus, again sliding out of the corner after hitting the wall. And looked like
an
Caleb.
Interesting strategy for Caleb Rose. He hit it before the caution. He's now a lap down. He'll get his lap back, but interesting strategy there.
And it looked like Ethan Hoffman was the one who got the second position from Caleb McDonald there off the finish of the halfway for the halfway bonus there. But of course,
and we've got reports on the radio. Austin Switzer, engine issues. His race might be done, and another driver might bite the dust. Trip, now 2 of your 3 are going to be out. Yeah, I mean, thanks. Gotta hope Hoffman can push it through. Hopefully that's not a big issue for Switzer. I mean, he's run so well all season. Austin Switzer is out of the race. Here they come down pit road. Tyler McDonald leads them down.
And it's a it's a 4-tire change, 2 cans of fuel there. Of course, no repairs on these race cars. Does not look like there's going to be any adjustments on that 11 car. Looking like it's feeling really good here, coming down towards the end of the race.
As we said, we highly doubt anybody's going to take 2 tires because they would be screwed because all 4 tires take such a beating, some more than others depending on what line they have. Tyler McDonald looks like it's going to be a 15-second pit stop. Let's see, he's going to get out. Is anybody going to beat him? Not G, not McDonald, not the 20. And Tyler McDonald is out, and as you saw, Austin Switzer officially out of the race, so only 7 cars of the 12 on the entry list remain in this race, Tyler. This is slowly becoming a race of survival of the fittest. This one is getting wild.
Yeah, as you can see with that sun beating down on the racetrack, definitely got to be some sort of hazard for these guys. Got to be a hot race cars. And these guys, they're not going to be able to take it. Their engine's not able to take it. Their car is not able to take it. Definitely a lot more than meets the eye here for the Auto Club Speedway. Definitely surprising, though, to see some of the guys who are surviving this. Ethan Hoffman. And if you look back to third, you got Fisher G. And then you got the Caleb McDonald machine. And every one of the top 5. There are just 3 wins on the season for the drivers in the total in the top 5 right now. And it's all for that number 1 restarting position driver, Tyler McDonald.
How about that? Fisher babies in the race. He's got a chance. Happy meal. Naomi racing for JoJo. This is going to be fun. So we're coming up. Let's see. Are we going to go green here? No, we're not.
So I believe
stay under the yellow flag. Caleb Rose getting his lap back because interesting strategy trip hitting before the yellow. Yeah, I mean, an interesting strategy call by that 20 team coming down right before the halfway, but that might pay off. I don't know what exactly the strategy was there, but might work for him, might not. Anyway, Caleb Rose, he was up to third in points. He's falling back now. He's sitting in 6th right on the cutoff, so he's just got to hope that maybe he can get things turned around.
And I'm not sure what he was thinking when he came down with that strategy call there, because he already put a heat cycle on the tires, and with such a race of racetrack, you probably want the best of tires for the restart. But yeah, very interesting to see how that'll play out here. Not much gain from that. He still will be starting in the back of the field, but it looked like we were trying to go green here, and I think we did.
Yep, green flag back in the air. It's Tyler McDonald, Hoffman, Fisher G, Caleb McDonald, Naomi racing for JoJo, then Paul Jackson, Caleb Rose. The only 7 left in this wild race here at Auto Club Speedway. Tyler McDonald trying to check out from the field, but right now Hoffman hanging tough. McDonald gets up near the wall through turn 1, but that's actually going to help him rather than hurt him as he glides down through turns 1 and 2 and retains his lead.
And it's going to be a smooth set of sailing here for that 11 machine. As you can see, looking through here, his best lap times looking really dang good here at the Auto Club Speedway. Some of these guys have to pick up their game if they want to have a shot at this. Already almost a second back to those guys. Ethan Hoffman there sitting in 2nd. Then you have Caleb McDonald 3rd. Then you have Paul Jackson made his way up to 4th. And then Fisher G rounds out the top 5.
I mean, think about this. Look at all the drivers that are not in this right now. Tyler McDonald, let's see if someone can pull off the upset. But Austin Switzer is now out of the race. He was running even faster times. Josh Williamson is faster. He's out of the race. JoJo Sims has a sub for himself at his home track. No Jacob York, no Josh Crash. I mean, I don't really see anybody in this field who can take this one away from the 11, but as we've seen earlier in the season, we've seen, like, with Jarrett Talmadge, he dominates a race and then something bad happens. It's anybody, but
remember, that's happened only once during a race of this 11 car.
Here at Auto Club.
And he did not make the race at the Kansas Speedway, and he had some engine troubles at the Martinsville Speedway. But other than that, it's been a pretty good season for that 11 car so far. Be heartbreaking to see such a dominating performance here today to end in some sort of troubles, like some of the other guys we have had happen today. But right now it looks like Ethan Hoffman may be the second best car, but still only a few tenths above the 21 and the 78 here in the running order here at the Auto Club Speedway.
Now, you mentioned the 21 car, Caleb McDonald trip. It seems like he has started to struggle. He was hanging with Tyler McDonald. Yeah, he was running the same line as Tyler, but I kind of feel like as he faded away, he kind of started running different lines, and it just didn't work out. And he didn't have a great hit cycle last time. Made some contact with Paul Jackson and Austin Switzer under green. And now he's fallen back to second place. He is going to get by because Ethan Hoffman just had some issues. But still, a distance 3 seconds back of the 11.
And still falling back. No differentials there on the no gaining differentials there for the drivers. But it looks like Paul Jackson takes back the second position. I think those 3 cars definitely going to cycle out to see where they get for second, third, and fourth. But Paul Jackson might be able to pull it off. He has a lot more long run speed than the other 2. But it'll be very interesting to see. Paul Jackson has not been showing his face very much in the early stages of the race, but coming down in the past few laps, he's definitely dialed in his race car, and now he's sitting second.
this run that Paul Jackson has gone on has just been amazing. After debuting at Phoenix, he had 2 fifth-place finishes and 2 outside the top 10 finishes. And then since then, a victory at Dover, a victory at Talladega, a crazy victory at Road NC, and now running in the runner-up position and kind of gaining a little on Tyler here, as we've got less than 20 to go here at Auto Club in the 10th race of the season.
And right now it's looking like we might get ourselves the first really long run of the race here. And looks like really the closest battle is going to be between the 21 and the 78 machine for second position here. But it looks like Paul Jackson still holding on to that second position. Caleb McDonald falling back a little bit now. But we're probably going to need to get ourselves another green flag pit stop coming up here very soon. As you saw, just a few laps left on the estimated fuel for that 11 car. Heading back down to turn number 1.
Now we take a look. We've got 16 laps to go. So realistically, these drivers can make it, but it is going to be very close on gas at the very end after this stop. So, I mean, that could be the only interesting part. If anybody really gambles, or if anybody stumbles and pits a little too early or can't save the gas, that's the only thing that could get interesting. But I think getting to 15 to go without pitting does put you in that fuel window. But if people are pushing really hard, bad stuff could happen. And we're really seeing this long run speed showing up for guys like the 11 and the 78, and drivers like the 20 and also Ethan Hoffman are just fading. So this is going to be interesting what happens with pit stops coming up.
Coming down, of course, down towards the pit stops, you're going to need strategy. And there's one guy's strategies that always just interest me and I always honestly pull for to work. Fisher G always runs the tank dry, and no matter where you go, he's always pushing it until it's out of fuel, and then he coasts it back to pit lane. One thing I'm very interested to see is if he'll actually be able to pull any of that off at any of the events we come to later on in the season. Considering the fact that he has one of the most interesting strategies of all of the drivers here in this field. So some of the drivers, they just run it to 1-2 laps to go, and then they come down pit lane. But Fisher G goes all the way until tank dry.
An interesting strategy, and also I was looking at a very interesting statistic that I was keeping track of about, how many races have you led laps in? We don't count points for leading laps. If we did, Fisher G would be in a great spot. But Tyler McDonald and Austin Switzer have each led in 7 races this season. Next most, 6 races Fisher G has led in, and 5 of the 6 have been because of this wild pit strategy where he's the last car on track. Usually doesn't pay off, but it's nice for Chevy. Chevy struggling, get the sponsors happy, get to see the 88 car out front, and Fisher G and Team Chevy just trying to look for some new drivers to hopefully strengthen things, as we'll see if any pit stops happen yet. Paul Jackson, and it looks like Ethan Hoffman might have been coming down pit road in the back. And no, we did not.
And there's Caleb Rose coming off of pit lane there. You saw his Toyota Virtual Alliance teammate Tyler McDonald, the leader at the moment, get loose at coming out of turn number 4. He hit the wall and nearly got in the grass there, heading down the front straightaway. So you can definitely tell with the long runs and the wear on these tires is starting to become another factor here. And if anything happens to McDonald or he spins out or hits the wall, it's going to be all Paul Jackson's race coming down to the end.
So Caleb Rose was the first to pit. Yeah, and he had to be the first one to pit because he pitted before everybody else. It's just not going to work out for him, but he's still going to be able to pick up at least 4 points from this race. All these guys that are in that battle for the last spot, Caleb Rose, Fisher G, Ethan Hoffman, Caleb McDonald, all going to have good points days, along with Tyler McDonald and Paul Jackson keeping up the consistency, and Naomi actually having a good run driving for JoJo Sims. So very nice to see for all of these guys, and be interesting to see as we're coming to 10 laps to go. When do these guys start pulling into the pits?
And it looks like McDonald's holding down to the inside lane. Fuel light came on, slides coming down. Oh, that was really close getting down to the pit road speed there. But as he comes down pit road, looks like he's not going to make any adjustments on the race car. Just a couple cans of fuel and 4 tires for that number 11 Toyota. for Toyota Virtual Alliance looking good here today. They were running 1-2 before the pit stop cycle began. It was McDonald and Paul Jackson. Then he had a couple Fords, the 21 and the 28 there.
15.4 seconds, so this should be a solid stop for the 11 team. Hopefully no blunders. 21 of Caleb McDonald also on pit road. A couple others, actually almost everybody. Caleb Rose, there's Ethan Hoffman's white 28 machine. Naomi actually pulls JoJo's 14 into the pits.
You saw Paul Jackson there as the 11 pulled out. And right back onto the racing surface we go. And it looks like McDonald's going to hold the lead with less than 10 laps to go here at the Auto Club Speedway. Getting back up to speed.
He's in second place, but of course, look who's in first place. It's Fisher G, the only car that didn't pit that lap.
Yeah, no surprise.
But he'll be on pit road soon.
Yeah, no surprise seeing that 88 car. But one thing I've always thought about is that if there was some sort of a green flag cycle that went out for so long, if we didn't have 10 laps to go and Fisher had more than, and here he comes down pit lane, but if we had more than 10 laps of fuel in his tank and more than 10 laps remaining in this race, then we probably could see Fisher G pull off a pretty good strategy where he gets the lead far enough out front that a caution were to come. If a caution were to come out, he would pull everybody back down pit lane. Could pull some strategy on a pit stop and then get himself some good track position. But right now, of course, McDonald leading, coming around at lap that 20 car.
Traffic. Get out of the way, Caleb. Okay. That was crazy, but Tyler McDonald does get by Caleb Rose. Caleb Rose kind of slid up to block him on the outside down the backstretch.
And I'd assume he didn't want to go another lap down. I believe that's 2 for Caleb Rose here at the Auto Club Speedway. But, of course, I think Paul Jackson might have gained a little bit on that pit stop. I don't think he did, actually. But less than 8 laps to go here. 7
seconds back, so a lot of work to do. Ethan, Caleb McDonald, and Naomi Ashley is 5th. 6th place is Fisher G, and I believe Caleb Rose is in 7th at this point. So we're at 7.5 laps to go in a rather uneventful race at Auto Club. But the story of this race will be that it was a race of attrition, tires wearing quickly, and a lot of drivers eliminated early. Only big crash of the race was the early first lap incident that took the likes of Paul Jackson, Austin Switzer, and others who were all involved in that wreck.
And also that halfway bonus went to the 11 of Tyler McDonald. Going to put it into his back pocket for the playoffs begin. He's already locked in, and now he's coming up on more lap traffic here. Looks like Fisher G running in the 6th position in the 88 machine. The only Chevrolet in the race, as we said a couple times here today on the broadcast. And it looks like McDonald's, got right into the back end of the 88 car. Puts him in the wall. And, yeah, McDonald's not had a good time with these lap cars, whether it's an endurance race or the VRC. And once again, Fisher G is one of the ones that got in the way, or McDonald just didn't move out of the way fast enough.
Yep, I don't know if that was Fisher G's fault 100%. I don't think he realized how fast Tyler McDonald actually is, because aside from McDonald and Switzer and kind of Paul Jackson, nobody else is running these laps that are below 39 seconds. Tyler McDonald consistently running in the 38.6s and the 38.7s, and he is on track to pull away for his 4th win of the season.
And what a just a miraculous number that is for the 15 races we have this season. Most of the drivers that have won this season have multiple wins. Of course, Paul Jackson with 3, Josh Crash with 2, and then earlier on in the season before the troubles with Jared Talmadge, he had the Clash win, and then he also won the ISM race. But right now, we do still have that McDonald out front. But then again, we still do have about 4 laps to go when we come to the line. Still some time for an issue to happen. Cannot say we give him a win right now.
Once we get to 2 laps to go, no more caution.
But at the moment, though, it looks like McDonald might be able to keep his car steady enough, but you always fear some sort of issue happening. I mean, then again, Paul Jackson 12 seconds back, but one slip up, one slide, one time in the grass can end your race really quick here. So McDonald's just got to kind of drive it 75, 80%, not 100 here. Keep the tires up underneath you, and then you got to race it around and get that checkered flag. Right now, TVA running 1-2.
An interesting thing with Tyler McDonald is that he enters not just with the 3 cup wins, but among all the other things with the Endurance Challenge victory and 5 wins, the TRS, APWS, He's going for his 10th victory on the circuit. He'd be the first driver to double digits. Right now, nobody else has more than 6. He's going for number 10 on the circuit. Tyler McDonald has by far been the best driver in the first 5 to 6 months here of the Virtual Racing Championship since we began in the middle of February.
I mean, there are definitely a lot of drivers who could contest to get that, but they just don't run quite a bit, like Jacob York, like Josh Crash. Now, of course, if they were to race, they have a better shot at trying to get one, but worse of a shot, I should say, because they have to battle with the 11 car. They have to battle with another driver that's really darn good on the racing surface. You got quite a few drivers that definitely have a shot at getting to double digits, but they just sometimes don't have the car or don't run the races.
Across the line, Tyler McDonald sees 2 to go, and he can be calm about that. That means no more cautions. So as long as he has 4 good long turns, 1 and 2s and 3 and 4s altogether, he will be on track for win number 4 to just keep banking those playoff points. Because remember, the round of 6, you got a Daytona race in there, and then you got Texas. So it's good to have those points safe just in case the inevitable happens at Daytona with the crash, and maybe Texas doesn't go great for you.
Going to be a very interesting one. 1 lap to go this time by, and what a story it's been for today's race. He came in doing 1 practice session, barely hitting 38 seconds here, and then all of a sudden popping up in the race with 38 6s, 38 8s, consistently running 15 seconds ahead of second place here, coming around half a lap remaining, and definitely found himself a good groove here, and going to be a very, very fun one for these guys. That whole entire pit crew going to be screaming and yelling today, celebrating for the win that will be coming here from McDonald if he can conquer these last 2 corners.
Yeah, he's going to do it, baby. Tyler McDonald going for win number 4, and he's got it through 3 and 4. The first to double-digit victories on the circuit. 4th win of the year for Tyler McDonald. He's unstoppable as he takes it at Auto Club.
And there you go, TVA looking like they're going to get 1-2 here. Paul Jackson can pull it in for the 2nd place finish. Of course, 14 seconds back, they've still got a little bit of racing to do there. And as you can see, very interesting lineup there heading down towards the checkered flag. You don't see very many of those guys out front there. Of course, you got the Ethan Hoffman probably coming in 3rd. It seems still no official results quite yet. Not everyone's crossed the line. But as you can see, you got a lot of the big names running in the back there that did not get to finish this race. You've got that Austin Switzer machine just had some trouble today. A couple others as well that didn't make the grid. And
how about Naomi Ashley, though? Racing for JoJo Sims, her 2nd real start. She came to Red NC with no practice. That doesn't really count, but this is her first real start. Top 5 in an oval at Auto Club. Very impressive for her, and she did hang on the lap. Fisher G 6th, Caleb Rose in 7th. That's going to really make these point standings look interesting. Right now, Caleb McDonald holds that 6th spot. Ethan Hoffman, though, is right on his tail as we head to Watkins Glen next.
And that definitely pulls up a great points battle here for Hoffman, Rose, and McDonald there. But that's it for us here today at the Virtual Racing Network for the Auto Club Speedway Virtual Racing Championship, round number 10. Anything else you want to say, Trip, Eddie?
That's about it. It was a great race. Tyler McDonald with a strong finish. We hope you enjoyed here. For Joseph McIntyre, for Trip McGinnis, I'm Eddie Kalegi. We'll see you next time. We'll be in the Finger Lakes at Watkins Glen here on the Virtual Racing Network, your one-stop source for all things VRC.